in your life. My name is Grace. I'm 17 and I received $200,000 to my bank account in a strange way. But this money didn't bring me happiness. This is how it happened. My entire life I was raised by my grandmother. When she was 17, she gave birth to my mum. The father was a famous and rich man. He gave them money his entire life, so then she kept secret who he is. Every month, the money simply came into her bank account. At least, that's what she said. Grandma loved my mum and protected her, but when my mum turned 16, she was unable to do so. My mum became pregnant with me with a random guy. The birth process was very difficult and my mum died. I survived and have been living with my grandmother since then. She is very young. She's only 49. She dresses excellently, takes care of her appearance, and has a level of health that can make anyone envy her, but she is lonely. Throughout all these years, her relationships never worked out. I thought that it was because of her uncanny personality, as she is hot-headed and wants to control everything, until I heard one of our neighbours' very strange conversation. Mrs. Bland, the neighbour, said that my grandma ruined my mum's life because she had a secret affair with my father. She also said that my grandmother is very cunning and is ready to do anything for money. Could it really be true? No, I couldn't believe this. Mrs. Bland is just a gossiper. Although, such suspicious thoughts didn't leave my mind. Everything was revealed when Luke, my boyfriend, came into my life. He is very kind, though he is from a poor family. Every evening, I listened to my grandmother's hysteria regarding early pregnancy, the guys who only need sex. She repeated that if I became pregnant, Luke would be unable to support me and the child. He is studying, and his family has no money. "You'll end up like your mother," she said. Though he and I were going to stay virgins until our wedding, and we wanted our first time to be special. Luke dreamed of finishing university and becoming a marketologist, but Grandma didn't believe me. But one day, her attitude strangely changed. She started begging me to introduce him. She would invite him for supper. It was so suspicious, and though I didn't believe the gossip Mrs. Blant said, I was scared that Grandma would want to steal my boyfriend, as she did with my mum. My inner voice yelled, "Do not do it! Do not!" But she insisted so much that I gave up, and so Luke came for supper. She liked him. Yes, he's handsome, tall, smart and kind, but he's also a gentleman. He brought her a great bouquet of flowers, pulled out a chair for her before we sat down, and spoke with her about her favourite books and music. Grandma listened with the smile of Mona Lisa. It seemed that she was in admiration, but didn't want to show it. I didn't know if I should be happy or worried about her approval, but after some time, I understood that it would have been better if I had not introduced him to her. The next day she told me, "I want a child," and instead of using a donor sperm, she wanted the biological father to be Luke. He was a great option, and he was in great health, while it was not clear what was in the sperm bank. I was in shock. No, of course not. But Grandma sternly said that if I refused, she would kick me out of the house, take my name out of her, and will leave me not even a penny. But if I convince Luke, she'll give me $200,000 for the wedding. I didn't know what to do. The choice was being left on the street without money or having money but a shared boyfriend. What would you choose? I thought up a plan. The next day, I asked Luke to give his sperm to a bank. I spent a lot of time telling him something regarding ecology and other existing dangers. I explained it by saying that various things happen in life and that it would be better to freeze it, just in case, so that we always have the ability to have a child. It felt like I was in a movie and playing the most important role in my life. And well, I received my Oscar for the most believable acting. Luke agreed. As soon as the sperm bank got the sample, Grandma had vitro fertilization successfully performed on her. She said that I would get the money only when the child would be born, while Luke and I would be getting ready for the wedding. And so my grandma gave birth. The delivery was easy, despite her age. And you know what? She named her like she had named my mum, Anna. I received the money for the wedding, and when the day came, everything was perfect. My dress, the guests in the garden, live music, a dream. But with a terrible ending. The music stopped and Grandma got up on the stage to the microphone, raised a glass and said, "To Luke, my granddaughter's wife, and the father of my child." What do you think happened afterwards? I went through hell when I confessed my deceit to him. Never in my life was I so ashamed. Luke said that if I had told him everything right away, we would have solved this problem together, but now he wouldn't be able to love a liar. I pleaded him to forgive me and swore I would never lie to him again, but he remained adamant. Now we are getting divorced. We didn't even have our first wedding night. In result, my marriage lasted 2 hours. But the most shocking thing happened afterwards, when I was yelling at her as to why she did it. For money, like you, my dear. And then she told me everything. Ends up that the famous man who fathered my mum and supported her all his life died, and he left her a big inheritance, but she could only get it under one condition: if she was raising her daughter Anna. Of course he didn't specify my daughter, as his fatherhood would have been revealed. He didn't know that my mum has been dead for a long time, which means that she doesn't have a daughter. Luckily, in the will, there was no specified age of the daughter, nor any other details. In order to be able to use the money, my grandmother just needed to have a daughter named Anna. And so she got a crafty idea: give birth to a child, name it the same as my mum, and receive the inheritance. Turns out, my grandmother always loved money more than people. What do you think? Am I the same as my grandmother? As I did also lie to a person I loved for money. I want to get Luke back. I am terribly ashamed, but what would you do in my place? Say no to $200,000? Please write in the comments. Afterwards, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel.